Well, good morning, welcome everyone. We have a very special event this morning. Swami Sarvapriyananda ji has very kindly agreed to come from his center in New York and speak to us this morning. Everybody knows him for his wonderful speaking ability, which started back when he was in India and early lecture series at the IIT Kanpur and other places. So we're very happy that he's agreed to come and speak to us today. One note, we do have in the basement a large screen, and you'll be able to see it there and some seats for those who would rather go downstairs and some in back also. So Swamiji's topic this morning is the eye of the eye from the Kena Upanishad. And after he speaks, there'll be a chance for some questions. So when he's done, we have a microphone there that one by one, or you can form a little queue and then ask questions at that time. So we will request Maharaj now to address us.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste and good morning, everybody. What a wonderful gathering. I offer my pranams to revered Swami Atmagyananji Maharaj, revered Swami Bhasvatanji Maharaj. Thanks to revered Maharaj, I am here today. We are all gathered here in this wonderful temple. And Maharaj is really the spirit behind all of this, not only today's event, but whatever we are enjoying and getting the benefit from. The subject, as revered Maharaj said, is the eye of the eye. It's based on the Kena Upanishad. The reason I have this subject is pretty simple. Somebody asked me, you give so many talks, do you prepare all these talks? I said, no, actually I have a secret. The secret is whatever I'm studying at that particular time, you'll see all my talks are sort of centered around that. So I don't have to prepare twice, thrice, Right now we are doing the Kena Upanishad in our Upanishad class. So a number of the talks, retreats, not all, but a number of them are centered around or based on the Kena Upanishad. Eye of the eye. It is the central theme of Vedanta. When you hear a subject like eye of the eye means the vertical eye, not this one. Although that too we will see. Immediately it means what we consider the eye as eye. That is not the real eye. That's why you use a phrase like eye of the eye. And I was thinking, this question, who am I, what is the eye of the eye, has just been answered in the beautiful hymn which was sung. Onkara Vedya Purusho Purana. Then there's a line, there are a couple of lines there which answer this question directly. I really don't have to say anything more. What are the lines? Buddhescha sakshi nikhilasya janto. The witness of the buddhi in all beings. Very powerful phrase. The witness of the buddhi in all beings. Buddhi means intellect. How do we know anything at all? So I see something with the eyes. I can see all of you gathered here with the eyes. But whatever information that the eyes get from the world outside, whatever information the ears get and all our senses get from the world outside, they are presented to the mind from all the sensors, gathering information presented to the intellect. Then the intellect processes it and comes to an conclusion, generates knowledge. And that is illumined by consciousness. So that we get a conscious experience. I am getting a conscious experience right now. I see you. And you will say, Swami, we see you and we also hear you. That's the buddhi illumined by the intellect, by the consciousness. The intellect illumined by consciousness comes to this experience. So all that we know is through our senses, through our mind, through the intellect. But the intellect itself is known. Just as we objectify the world with the senses, just as our senses are objectified by the intellect itself is objectified. Intellect itself is illumined. By what? By what? Buddhescha sakshi, the witness of the intellect. So this, what is meant here is, of course, consciousness, awareness by itself, awareness in itself, consciousness in itself. But here is a hymn to Sri Ramakrishna. Buddhescha sakshi nikhilasya janto yo vetti sakalam nachayasya vetta paratma rupo bhuvi Ramakrishna. We are saluting Sri Ramakrishna. We are bowing down to Sri Ramakrishna. But where are we locating Sri Ramakrishna? Swami, take a look. He's right there on your right side. But here the hymn says, he's not only there. He is the witness. The eyes are seeing that, the image there. The intellect is cognizing it. And the intellect is lit up by something. The witness of the intellect. What's going on? Yes. Yes. So background music. It emphasizes what I'm saying. Yes, something is going on. Somewhere. Buddhescha sakshi. So the consciousness illumines the activities of the intellect. The intellect illumines the activities of the senses. And the senses illumine the world outside. So it is this witness of the buddhi which is the ultimate knower. But this witness of the buddhi, very interesting. He says, we get a sort of instinctive feeling, oh, I see, there is the world, here are the senses, and here is the intellect, and behind the intellect, sort of deeper than the intellect, inner to the intellect, is the witness of the intellect, is consciousness, let us say. But that just sort of seems individual, because here is one body. I am this body. I am this mind. And so if there is a consciousness illumining the mind, I must be that. But that must be somehow different from everybody else. But now what does the next part of that line say? Buddhescha sakshi nikhilasya janto. In all creatures, in all sentient beings, there is one witness of all the intellects. Sri Krishna says in one of the most powerful half sentences in the Bhagavad Gita, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. O Arjuna, know me to be the one knower of the field, the one consciousness in all fields, in all beings. Exactly the same thing is being said here. Buddhescha sakshi nikhilasya janto. And then, yo vetti sakalam nachayasya vetta. Who knows everything, but no one knows him. So this is the answer to the question posed by eye of the eye. What is the eye of the eye? I know what is eye. But what is the eye of the eye? That's the central teaching of Vedanta. We will explore that. This is the subject. I couldn't have asked for a more beautiful beginning to the talk than this particular hymn. If I'm not wrong, was it composed by Abhedanandaji? It's composed by Abhedanandaji, yes. It's particularly evocative because the center I am in, the Vedanta Society of New York, Swami Abhedanandaji was there for more than 20 years. All right. Questions. The Upanishads begin with questions. Bhagavad Gita begins with questions. And many Advaitic texts which are written on that pattern, they're called Prakarana Granthas, Vivek, Chudamani and others. They're always questions, not just one question. Question, then answer, then further questions and answer. Bhagavad Gita is made in that pattern. So begins with questions. The philosopher Arindam Chakravarti once told me, Swami, stay with the question. Because when we hear these amazing questions in the Upanishads, we are eager to know. Yes, I am also eager to know the answer. Let me quickly flip ahead. Go ahead. Where is the answer? I want to know the answer. Where that philosopher said, stay with the question. First, savor the question. Appreciate the question. Understand the question. Make the question your question, my question. And then go deeper. Then the answers will come alive for you. And even deeper, as we go through the Upanishads and the Gita and the other texts of the Vedanta, and then after a long study of the Vedanta, some depth, some understanding, some clarity, when we look back at the questions, we begin to see the seeds of these answers are already there in the questions. Initially, we are very eager to skip ahead to the answer because we really want to know. And the questions are remarkable questions. Mundaka Upanishad begins with the question, Kasminno bhagavo vigyate sarvamidam vigyatam bhavati iti. Sir, Shaunaka the student asks, Sir, what is that by knowing which everything here is known? What's that one thing by knowing which everything in this universe will be known? What an amazing question. And it's worth pondering upon. What does that question mean actually? How profound that question is. How well put it is. Same question you find in the Chandogya Upanishad, where the father asks the son. He finds that the son has become arrogant. He has come back, graduated from school, Ivy League, has come back, is arrogant. What does that old man know? I know all the latest stuff. And the father asks, son, did they teach you in school that by knowing which everything is known? And that flummoxed him, threw him off. I had never heard of such a subject. You know physics, then you know physics. You know botany, you know about life. You know mathematics, you know how to do algebra and calculations and stuff. But by knowing one thing, you can know everything. How is that possible? By knowing one thing, you know one thing, that thing only. But by knowing one thing, you know everything. That is the principle on which science operates, basically. A bewildering variety. What's the underlying organizing principle? In fact, that's the way knowledge operates. What's that one thing knowing which everything is known? And the answer given by the father in the Chandogya Upanishad is you. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. That's a long dialogue. I'm cutting it short, skipping ahead to the answer. It's knowing you. So this is our subject today, the eye of the eye. In the Katha Upanishad, the little boy Nachiketa goes to the house of death. He asks this question. Actually, he asks 3 questions there. The Lord of Death grants him 3 boons because he waited patiently 3 nights. So grants him 3 boons and he asks 3 questions. One boon that I hope my father will not be angry with me when I go back. The second one is about the highest of the Vedic sacrifices, the best Vedic sacrifice. But then the real question, the third question it comes later. So that story is spun out a little bit. It's a long story in Katha Upanishad. And it has high dramatic value. I remember in Deoghar Vidyapith, where I joined as a brahmachari, the little boys there staged this as a play, Yama and Nachiketa. It's a favorite play, Yama and Nachiketa. Nachiketa, the student, the little boy, and Yama, the Lord of Death. The dialogue between Yama and Nachiketa translated into Hindi and made into a play. Now, I remember the kids had not rehearsed very well. So, all sorts of disasters occurred. They forgot the dialogue and whatnot happened. And of course, the audience enjoyed it thoroughly because they're little kids. It's very funny. But the kids were very self-conscious. I can't resist. I'll tell you 1 or 2 highlights of the disaster before we go into the subject itself. So there was a Swami who directed the play. And he said the most important verses I will chant in Sanskrit. The actor, the Nachiketa and the Yama, they have to stand still. And from the background with the harmonium, I will chant the verses in Sanskrit. And lo and behold, as luck would have it, the moment they were standing there about to chant, that Swami had disappeared. Bathroom break, washroom break. And like 400 people were there. And the kids are looking back like that. And we are helter-skelter running around in the back looking for the Swami who's disappeared at that moment itself. And so on it went on. Disaster after disaster, until the time came for Nachiketa to ask the question that What happens after death? Is there anything after? What's the mystery of death? Does anything survive death? One of the fundamental questions of humanity. So he says, the Lord of Death, Yama, tells the little boy, ask for your third boon. What do you want for your third boon? And the point of the whole play is that question. Before the little boy could open his mouth, somebody in the audience, obviously exasperated by the whole thing, said, tell him I don't want anything, then this will come to an end. Mercifully, it will come to an end. You will bring this painful episode to an end. In the Kena Upanishad also we begin with a question. Remarkable, one of the most sophisticated questions. Among all these amazing questions, probably one of the most sophisticated, finest questions which resonates down till today. The student asks the teacher, we don't know the name of the student, we don't know the name of the teacher. The student asks the teacher, Keneshitam patati preshitam mana, Kena prana prathama preti yuktaha, Keneshitam vachamimam vadanti, Chakshushrotram kaudeva yunakti. Said, sir, I'm thinking, what is it that impels my thoughts? Kena, by whom? Or by what? Literally, precisely by whom? By whom are these thoughts being illumined, impelled, inspired? Basically, what explains this experience of thinking? I breathe in and out. What is the light behind this? What inspires this life here? I'm seeing all of you. How am I having this experience of seeing? We are hearing right now. What is giving us this experience of hearing? Chakshu Shrotra Kaudeva Yunakti. Which bright being, which luminous being, by what light are my experiences, the visual experience, the auditory experience, all of my sensory experiences, by what is it being lit up? Because all of these experiences have something in common. What are they? They are all experience, anubhava. They are all first person. It feels like something. It's a very subtle, deep, carefully put question. Gaudeva, it says, what is that one bright being? Now notice, immediately, it's not a question about the mind. It's not a question about the eyes. It's not a question about the ears. See, eyes, ears, these in medical, there are subspecialties, there are specialties. If you want to know about the eyes, go to the ophthalmology department in the medical university. You will have shelves and shelves of books. Want to know about the ears? Ear, nose, throat? Doctor, it's a ENT, it's a super specialty. There are huge amounts of knowledge are available. Is he asking about that? Please explain the physiology of the nose. Please explain the physiology of the ears. No, he's not asking. How do we know? Because he talks about a diversity of things. Mind, thinking. Eyes, seeing. Ears, hearing. And he says one thing. What is the one thing behind all of these experiences? Kaudeva Yunakti. One bright being, one luminous being. By using the word Deva, luminous, he's making it even more precise. He's talking about our first person experience, our subjectivity. That it feels like something to experience, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, imagining, dreaming, waking, enjoying, suffering. All of these are subjective experiences. All the time it is going on. It is what we call life. This is our life. This continuous movie which is playing out. This first person experience, subjectivity. It feels like something. How? Why? This is a question about consciousness. It's not a question about psychology, how mind is thinking psychology. No. It's not a question about eyes, ears, nose, throat, physiology. No. It's not a physiological question. It's not a psychological question. Not a question about ophthalmology. Not a question about ENT. It's a question about consciousness. That's the first thing we must appreciate. And it's the most profound question. It goes to the very heart of what we are. What we are as sentient beings. What is sentience? What is consciousness? What is awareness? We have been asking, this is a question thousands of years ago. I read in a book, Evan Thompson, professor of philosophy in British Columbia, he is writing in the introduction to his book, Waking, Dreaming, Being, that this consciousness studies is not a new subject. It started in ancient India, in the Vedic India, in the texts called the Upanishads, more than 5,000 years ago. These questions were asked, and profound answers were found. And even today we are asking these questions once again, because consciousness studies has become a hot subject right now. If you Google it, hard problem of consciousness, mystery of consciousness, so much discussion is going on. It's a hot subject right now, for multiple reasons. Maybe we have better technology to scan the brain now, fMRI scans are possible. Also because of the rise of the internet, computers, especially these days AI. So the question of what is consciousness, what are we basically, that has come up with a redoubled force again. I was reading just a couple of years ago, Oxford University Press. It says the 5 great unsolved questions in philosophy. All questions in philosophy are unsolved, by the way. That's one subject where nothing is ever solved. What Plato, Aristotle, Kumari Labhatta and Shankara asked, those questions are still going on now. But what are according to Oxford University Press, what are the 5 questions? Now when you look at the 5 questions, you will see 4 of them are directly concerned with consciousness. One is marginally, but 4 are directly concerned with consciousness. 5 of the, according to Oxford University Press, the greatest unsolved questions in philosophy. The greatest questions in philosophy, let us say. What are those 5? 1, what is free will? Again, connected with consciousness. 2, can we know anything at all? That is the question of epistemology and skepticism. Knowledge, connected with consciousness. 3, who am I? Direct, our subject today. Who am I? 4, what is death? Nachiketa's question. Not physical death. Physical death, the doctors and the police and the lawyers can attest to, they have criterion to attest what is physical death. But psychological death of the subject, I, what is it, what will be death for me? Will I be finished completely? Will I exist after death in some way? In what way? So those are the questions about, again connected to consciousness. And the last question was something about justice, so not directly connected to consciousness. But it just struck me. 5 of the top questions in philosophy, according to Oxford University Press, 4 are connected to this very question, asked by a student to a teacher, unknown, 3,000-4,000 years ago in ancient India. By what light am I able to see? Not that light, internally. By what light? What light illumines my thoughts? What light gives me the experience of hearing, breathing? The experience itself. Not the physiology of it, not the psychology of it also. So this is the remarkable question. Tremendous question. And we are still asking this question right now. And it's taken on redoubled force in the age of AI and everything. Now the question is amazing, and the answer is even more amazing. The teacher's answer is an answer for the ages. Even till today it is resounding. Remarkable answer to a remarkable question. What does the teacher say? Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yad vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshurati muchya dhira pretya asmad lokad amrita bhavanti. Remarkable answer. It gives not a direct answer to the question, but an indirect answer to the question. Very sophisticated answer to a very sophisticated question. We'll explore the answer also. Then tells us also what is to be done with this answer. And tells us also what's the result of this entire project. The truth, the sadhana, the practice, and the phala, result. All 3 in one sentence. Of course, Sanskrit is known for very long sentences. They can string together long sentences. What did the teacher say? You want to know what is that light by which you are able to hear, by which we are able to hear, by which we are able to see? Yes, I want to know. By what you are able to hear, shrotrasya shrotram. You are able to hear because you are able to have the experience of hearing. Able to hear because of the ears. But you are able to have that conscious, subjective experience of hearing because of the ear of the ear. You want to know how you are thinking, experience of thinking. Yes, yes. Because of the mind of the mind. And you want to know how you are seeing. By now the student must be, he has understood the game. He says, tell me, is it because of the eye of the eye? Yes. How am I able to breathe? Because of the breath of the breath? Yes, you have got it right now. You have understood it. So here eye of the eye means EYEI. And the answer to all of these questions is what we are discussing today, the eye of the eye, the capital I of the eye. What did he say here? Why did he say it in this way? And what will be the result of all of this? Let's see. 3 unique aspects of this answer let us take a look at. It says, that which you are asking, the eye of the, you are asking how we have the experience of seeing, hearing, thinking. Yes, yes. The answer to that is it's something distinct from the eyes. It's not the eyes. The eyes alone will not give you the experience of seeing. The ears alone will not give you the experience of hearing. Even the mind by itself will not give you the experience of thinking. The experience, the subjectivity, the first person feel of it is due to something distinct from the eyes, ears, mind, breath. Something apart from that. That's why the language is used, eye of the eye, separation. Otherwise, what would have been the answer? How do I see? Because of your eyes. How do I hear? Because of your ears. How do I think? Because you have a mind. No, he says mind of the mind, eye of the eye, ear of the ear. So separates. And separates, but in what sense? Where is this ear of the ear? When you say ear, I understand. Now I can explode the ear. When I say eye, I understand. Now I can explode the eyes. I can study ophthalmology, I can study psychology for the mind and so on. But if you say eye of the eye, ear of the ear, what do you mean? Ear I know. Where is the ear of the ear? Is it inside the ear? Is it out there? So ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, it shows us the direction of search. The eye of the eye clearly cannot be something seen by the eyes. It's not an object of the eyes. It's rather in the opposite direction. Ear of the ear is not a sound. It's something in the opposite direction. Mind of the mind is not a thought. It's something in an inward direction. So the first thing it shows us is what you are asking. The real nature of consciousness, the real nature of the self, the eye of the eye. It is distinct from the eyes, distinct from the ears, distinct apart from the mind, and yet right there in the ears, in the eyes, in the mind, in our experience of seeing, in our experience of hearing, in our experience, inner life of thoughts and emotions, what we are looking for, the real nature of consciousness, is right there. It's distinct from the physiology. It's distinct from the psychology. And yet, in the physiology and psychology, in those experiences of life, consciousness is present right there. What we just heard, buddhescha sakshi, witness of the buddhi. So, it is present right there. And another thing we notice in this answer, that not only is it this consciousness is distinct from the eyes, ears, mind and all that, prana, not only is it present right there, but it is also one. Eyes are different from ears. Mind is different from eyes and ears. Physiology is not psychology. But this one, behind physiology and psychology, behind the eyes and ears and mind and prana, it is one. It is not saying that we have to divide. You have to ask too many questions. You ask too many questions. We have to have separate chapters. This chapter is for ear of the ear. That is for eye of the eye. That will be for mind of the mind. No, it is all one question you have asked. I'll give you an example of how deep this discussion is. Even now we have tremendous confusion regarding this, especially at the present age, where we are again asking these questions in science. There was a professor, Marvin Minsky at Harvard. He has passed away, professor of mathematics. He said, there is no problem of consciousness. There's only the problem of how we see or how we hear, how we think. These are a bunch of problems which we do not know the answer to, and we put it under one basket and we call it the problem of consciousness. Well, the Upanishad begs to differ from Professor Minsky. The Upanishad says it is one question. There is a serious, most serious question to ask about consciousness. According to Professor Minsky, what is the answer? The answer is, you study the eyes, you study the mind, you study the ears, you will get your answer. No. There is something different from the body. There is something distinct from the mind. And that one thing is behind all of these. Behind means it gives us the answer to the conscious experience of living. So we have got three things already. By exploring the answer, we've got three things. Ear of the ear, mind of the mind, eye of the eye. First thing is, what we are looking for is distinct from the ears, eyes, mind, etc. Second point we have gathered here is, it is right there in the experience of hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. It's present right here, not outside there. Third thing is, what we are looking for is one reality. If you see the way the answer is presented, what you are asking, it is the ear of the ear, it is the mind of the mind, it is the speech of the speech, it is the eye of the eye, prana of the prana. It, one thing. That which is the ear of the ear is the eye of the eye. That which is the eye of the eye is the mind of the mind. That which is the mind of the mind is the speech of the speech. Some of you are looking puzzled. What is it going on and on about? Yet we are talking about the most basic, most simplest thing. We're just talking about ourselves. We're talking about you. Your experience. Not of God, heaven, something esoteric. Right now, our daily experience. This is another beautiful thing about Vedanta. Extraordinary thing about Vedanta. It does not ask you to believe in anything. One. That's one kind of religion, which is valid. It starts with belief, with faith. Another kind of approach in religion is experience-based, but extraordinary experience. You practice in this way, you perform these techniques, you meditate in this way, you will get extraordinary experiences called mystical experiences, visions and the like, which will give you confirmation of the claims of religion. But Vedanta is neither of them. Vedanta talks about experience, but what experience? Remarkably, Vedanta talks about our quotidian experience, our daily experience. Are you seeing? Yes. Are you hearing? Yes. Are you thinking? Yes. You can start Vedanta. That's all. That's all you need. Do you experience waking, dreaming, and sleeping? Yes, every day. Then it's enough. You can start Vedanta. We think Vedanta is very difficult. In one sense it is. In another sense, Vedanta is very primary. Not even primary. It is very primal. It is primordial. It's the very beginning. Sri Ramakrishna said, Advaita Gyan Achole Vede Jaichatai Karo. Tie the knowledge of Advaita to the hem of your cloth. You know, in India, our mothers used to tie the household keys to the hem of their saris. That's what he's referring to. Tie the knowledge of Advaita to the hem of your cloth, then do whatever else you like. He's sort of making it preliminary, basic, foundational. So Advaita Vedanta just requires us to have our daily experience. That's enough to start Advaita. Ramana Maharshi was very well known. Who am I? Ramana Maharshi. Somebody asked him this question. Is it very difficult? Am I qualified for Vedanta? Am I qualified for Vedanta? And Ramana Maharshi said, did you say I? If you say I, then you're qualified to ask, who am I? Who among us cannot say I? That's our favorite word, I. Then you are qualified to ask who am I? You are qualified to ask the eye of the eye. The who am I is the question, answer is the eye of the eye. So this is what we have got so far. I like this example of electricity, for example. That's a very good example, which illustrates what we are talking about. Look at the light there. It's giving you radiance, light. The microphone is amplifying sound. The computer is processing this image. Camera is capturing this image. Now this camera, this microphone, this light, when they were in the shop, before Swami purchased them and installed them here, in the shop they were not doing all these things. In the box, the light was not giving light. The microphone was not amplifying sound. The camera was not capturing images. Then what happened when you plugged them in? What got into them? Electricity, power. We know that. Now, can you ask this question? What is that one bright thing by which the light is shining, the microphone is capturing sound, is amplifying sound, the camera is capturing images? And the answer could be, it is the light of the light, it is the microphone of the microphone, it is the camera of the camera. Yes, why not? By that, what do we mean? One thing we mean, only electricity, only power, electricity, which got into the light, which got into the microphone, which got into the camera, and made them do what they were individually designed to do. It's a good example. It's only an example. Don't stretch it too far. Similarly, the answer is that there is something which illumines these systems and gives us visual experience, auditory experience, olfactory experience, gustatory experience, tactile experience, psychological experience of thoughts, cognitions, emotions, pleasure, pain. All of these are made possible by one thing, which is different from these physiological, biological, psychological systems, and yet pervades all of them. Swami Vivekananda said, we Hindus worship a transcendent, immanent God. The ultimate reality is beyond name and form, beyond this time, space, and object, and yet immanent, right here, eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. It's right here. Why this elliptical way of speaking? Why not directly say consciousness? You are asking a question, why, by what we get the experience of seeing? Because of consciousness. By which we get the experience of hearing? Because of consciousness. The reason is, if you answer like that, they will start looking for an object called consciousness. One more thing called consciousness. You'll never find it that way. Which is why whole of consciousness studies right now is spinning its wheels. We are looking, but we are looking in the wrong place. We're looking for an object. And that's why it says it's not an object. It uses an elliptical way to point us in the right direction at ourselves. Atimuchya dhira pretya smad lokad amrita bhavanti. Very precisely, very cryptically worded. It says the spiritual seeker, if you realize this, if you find it out, if you get what is being spoken about here, you immediately transcend body-mind. Atimuchya, you transcend body-mind. You realize something, you find something about yourself, which shows that you are already transcending body-mind. Right now in this body and mind, you are right here. We are embodied, and yet we are not the body, not the mind. We will realize. We are not physiology, we are not psychology. So this consciousness, right here, when you realize it as the self, I am this. Atimuchya dhira. It transcend. Transcend means, even when we are in the body, we are not of the body, we are not affected by the ups and downs of the body. We realize immediately that, oh, I am this awareness, I am this light illumining my life. And this light, which I am, it's not born with the birth of the body. It will not die with the death of the body. It does not age with the aging of the body. It does not become depressed when the mind is depressed. And equally, when the mind is excited, it does not become excited. It illumines the baby's body and the child's body and the young person's body and the middle-aged person's body, the old person's body, and yes, even the dead body, it illumines. It illumines the mind when it is restless. It illumines the mind when it is in deep meditation. This same consciousness, it illumines the mind when it is joyful and blissful. It illumines the mind, same mind, when it is depressed and deeply unhappy. In itself, it is neither joyful nor unhappy. It is neither depressed nor elated. It is beyond all rest and restlessness. It's forever at rest. In fact, it's another name in the Upanishad, Shantam. Mandukya Upanishad, Shantam. You are not peaceful, you are peace itself. When I realize this is a tremendous, tremendous realization. I am like this. This is what I am. And when this spiritual seeker, now no longer a seeker, is now a finder. We are no longer spiritual seekers. We are finders. We have found it. What we were looking for. God, Atman, Brahman. We have found it. And we have found it within ourselves. As what I truly am. Not as the I. Right now I know myself as I. Then we will know ourselves as I of the I. We will understand for the first time when Shankaracharya singing. We have sung it so many times. Mano buddha hankara chittani naham. Look at the line. What does it say? We have sung it. Chidananda rupa shivoham. But the first line, what does it say? I am not the mind. I am not the intellect. I am not the mano buddhi hankara chitta. I am not the memory, the mind stuff. But most interestingly, ahankara na aham. I am not the ego. If you translate it even more precisely, I am not I. That's flat out contradictory. Ego means I. And Shankaracharya is saying, I am not I. Who are you then? He says, and then he goes on, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am of the nature of bliss and pure consciousness. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. This I am Shiva, this is the I of the I. It is that which illumines the ego, that which illumines the mind, that which illumines the senses. It's literally another way of saying the same thing. What the teacher said, eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. When Shankaracharya says, I am not the mind, not the intellect, not the memory, not the ego, but I am pure consciousness, I am Shiva, I am Shiva. It's exactly the same thing. When we realize this, then our life becomes blessed. We become for the first time spiritual finders, not just seekers. And then we have to live it. The life which proceeds from this light. He says, in the Upanishad, the result is given. The teacher says, Atimuchya dhira pretya smad lokad amrita bhavanti. Atimuchya dhira means the spiritual seeker who has found it now, has realized, I am this light, and lives accordingly. This is called Jivan Mukti. Pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. So there are two meanings to this. Transcending this world, loka, one attains to immortality. Now, or one becomes immortal, or one realizes already existing immortality. Now it can have two meanings. Transcending this loka means one is transcending this body. The moment you have realized I am this consciousness, you have automatically transcended this body. So that means Jivan Mukti, free while living. As long as this body continues, you will continue. But this will be a life of light, of luminosity, of peace, of blessedness. And one day this body will die in its natural course. Then you are what is called Videha Mukta, bodiless liberation. Again, the liberation with the body, free while living, and the bodiless liberation, both are from our perspective. From your perspective, from the enlightened one's perspective, it doesn't matter. If I am that light, I am not this body. So this body lives for some time and then goes, it is the same to me. But from our perspective, certainly these two are put forward. Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti. Free while living in this body and free after the death of this body. Wonderful. This is the teaching. Remarkable teaching. Now I would like to know it. The student, we are all enthused. Yes, I want to know this eye of the eye. I know the eye. I am here. Now this eye of the eye, please show me. I also want to become Jivan Mukta, Videha Mukta, liberated while I want to be free of the fear of death. I want to be free of the torture of this mind. Mind is the biggest torturer. Gita says the mind uncontrolled is your worst enemy. The mind uncontrolled is your worst enemy, but the mind controlled is your best friend. So I also want this freedom. I also want this liberation. Please show me. This Upanishad is very dramatic. And the teacher says the teacher says, I can't. Why not? I can't show you. He says, but you know it. No, I don't know it. But you don't know it. Why are you giving lectures then? We all came here and you should have advertised it that you didn't know it. Na tatra vag gacchati, na chakshur gacchati, na vag gacchati, no manaha, na vidmo, na vijanimo, yatheitad anushishyad. We do not know how to teach this. We also do not know if anybody else can teach it to you, because we do not know it ourselves. Why don't you know it? This is also an answer. Actually, he's deepening the answer by this. Why don't you know it? Because all the instruments of knowledge fail there. Na tatra chakshur gacchati. Eyes cannot see it, and by extension, ears cannot hear it, nose cannot smell it, the skin cannot touch it, the tongue cannot taste it. The senses cannot, and none of the extensions of the senses, no matter how many telescopes you make, microscopes you make, particle accelerators you make, none of them will be able to capture it. All right, but at least you can tell me about it. Na vag gacchati, speech cannot express it. You can't capture it. If you speak about it, yes, then it's not about that, something else you're talking about. All right, but you can think about it. You know it in your mind, at least you know it. Na manaha, the mind cannot know it. You cannot know it by thinking about it. You cannot, it's not something that can be thought about or understood. It cannot be something that is spoken about. It's not something that can be grasped by the senses. And therefore, we don't know it. That we do not know it is a virtue of that thing, not a fault. If you knew it, if you could see it, sense it, capture it through some scientific instrument, if you could talk about it, if language could refer to it, if thought could grasp it, it would become an object. One more thing among many things. But it's not that. It's deepening our understanding of what is consciousness. It is not something that is knowable. But then Vivekananda says in his Jnana Yoga talk in London, he says, it is not something that is an object of knowledge, it is not knowable, but you must not go away from here thinking it is unknown. It is more than known. After all, it is you yourself, it is the eye of the eye. Then the teacher goes on to say, there is a way of pointing it out to you. Very dramatic. And it goes that to the next most remarkable short instruction. The only instruction in the whole Upanishad. Anya deva tadvidita datho avidita dadi iti sushruma purvesham yenas tadvya chachakshire. What is that teaching? There is a teaching which we have got from the ancient lineage of teachers. Our gurus have given it to us, and they don't claim it is theirs. Their gurus have given it to them. From the ancient lineage of teachers. Who is saying this? In the Kena Upanishad, which is such an ancient text itself. There it is saying this knowledge has come down from the ancient teachers. So we do not claim any novelty here. We do not claim that we have invented it. Patent, copyright. It's just the opposite. The ancient scholarship was they did not want credit. Modern scholarship, just the opposite. Whether I've done anything or not, I need credit. You must. Otherwise, it's what is it? Plagiarism. Plagiarism. You're copying my own ideas. What value does our ideas have? One little brain among billions of brains. The slightest shock can, Sri Ramakrishna says, behead. That means it can go off kilter. We can lose our mind in the slightest shock of, and very soon it will be dead. This brain, it will go to pieces. It will go back to earth. And we are so proud of it. One monk there, he says, this new, I think for myself. You don't think for yourself in anything except when it comes to spirituality. Suddenly one discovers, I have a brain, I have to think for myself. I will not listen to gurus, I will not read the text, I will not listen to any teachers. I am thinking for myself. This is a trick of the mind. That monk said, why such, why do you think it's such a virtue that this is my idea? This brain is one among billions of brains. And it comes up with some idea. Why do you think that's so great? This is ego. This is not the eye of the eye. This is the I. It is my idea. No. Here the teacher says, all credit belongs to the ancient lineage of teachers. I am just transmitting. It worked for me. I have realized what we are talking about. Let's see if it works for you. Now the teachers, enough advertisement has been done. The student must be all eager. Yes, tell me that. He says, what you are looking for, this eye of the eye. This is this light of lights. This is other than the known. Whatever can be known is not it. If you can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, not the Atman, not consciousness, not the eye of the eye. If you can think about it, if you can understand it, no. If you can speak about it, no. Those are all in the realm of the known. Okay, I get it. It's unknown. It's other than the unknown also. It's other than the known. It's other than the unknown. It's not something unknown. As Vivekananda said, it is more than known. It is the most obvious of all things. Vivekananda called it the open secret. It's the open secret. That one is what you're looking for. It is very much, it's more than the known. It's very obvious. It's utterly obvious. And yet somehow it's hidden. We are not seeing it. And the rest of the Upanishad, the Kena Upanishad, is just an expansion of this instruction. Other than the known, other than the unknown. Basically what he's pointing to, the straight way. Whatever is known is an object of knowledge. The eyes see forms, colors, shapes, that's known. Ears hear sounds, that's known. Nose, smell, tongue, taste, skin, touch, heat, pressure, soft, hard, cold. And speech can grasp many more things. The intellect can do inference and have all kinds of common sense suppositions and scientific understanding, inference. All that falls under the realm of the known or the knowable. So these are all objects of knowledge. And here we are being told what you're looking for is not an object of knowledge. Nothing that we can sense, nothing that we can speak about, nothing that we can even understand. It's impossible then. It's utterly unknown. No, it's other than the unknown also. There's only one thing, and it's not even a thing. It's you yourself. And this teaching is so remarkable, it precisely points towards what is to be said. It is you yourself. I, me, the real me, the eye of the eye, that is being pointed out. One might say, then why didn't you just say you, the self? That's what you're looking for. But the problem is we already have a very strong preconception of what is the self. I already think I know what I am. So if the teacher says, what you're looking for is you yourself. I know what is I myself. This one, this body. But the teacher has said, other than the known, is the body known? Of course. Of course, I can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. The body is an object to all the senses. So is the mind. I'll say, all right, I don't mean I am the mind. I don't mean I am the body. I mean I am the mind. My thoughts, my memories, my personality. This is who I am. But is that known? Of course it's known. And if some part of it is unknown, go to your analyst, psychoanalyst. He will find that out. It will be known. So whatever is in the mind can also be known. Is known or is also knowable. Then it's not that either. And now we are at a loss. Because our whole understanding of ourselves is body-mind. That's all we know. But the Upanishad says, the teacher says, look at your language. He said, all we know. It's an object of knowledge. But what I'm saying is not an object of knowledge. But then if you eliminate the body, the mind, what else is left? Nothing, blank. So I don't exist. Is this what you are saying? The whole universe of objects, it can neatly be split into the known and the unknown. The boundaries are ever shifting. But you're saying it's neither the known nor the unknown. That means it's nothing. The self is nothing in that case. You're saying other than the known, other than the unknown, other than the objects. Objects are known and unknown. Other than the objects, there is the subject. But then the subject, you have not given any ground for the subject to stand upon. You have pulled out the rug. What is the subject if it is not the body? What is the subject if it's not the mind? What is this consciousness? Someone asked me, can you build a road map between our present understanding or non-understanding of consciousness to the Advaita Vedanta understanding of consciousness? And I said, I can do it in 5 negations. 5 times I will say no. That is what Advaita Vedanta wants to say. What are the 5 times? And each one of them can be heavily argued, heavily contested. But it's a roadmap which shows right now what we think or we're trying to understand what consciousness is and what Advaita is trying to say about consciousness. According to Advaita Vedanta, number 1, consciousness is not the brain. Not produced by the brain. It's not the brain, not produced by the brain. Number 2, consciousness is not the mind. Each one will become progressively more subtle, and each negation takes us deeper. Consciousness is not even the mind. Number 3, consciousness is not an object. Everything is an object to consciousness, but consciousness is not an object. Number 4, consciousness is not many. That's what we just heard Krishna say. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Know me to be the knower of the field in all fields, O Arjuna. What we just chanted. Buddhischa sakshi nikhilasya janto. In all beings, I am the witness of the buddhis. One. So consciousness is not many. I think it's Schrödinger who said, consciousness is that singular which has no plural. Then finally, most remarkably, consciousness is not dual, non-dual. Not body, not mind, not object, not many, non-dual. But notice, if you pay attention, the moment you say consciousness is non-dual, what does non-dual mean? There is no second reality apart from consciousness. No second reality apart from consciousness. What a remarkable thing has been said, because all the 4 other negations, they are now reversed. If there is no second reality apart from consciousness, then what is the body? Brain. What is the mind? Because you just said there is nothing other than... First you said consciousness is not the brain. Now you are saying there is nothing other than consciousness. Then what is the brain? What is the mind? What are objects? This non-duality is a remarkable thing. It means not that there is a brain and consciousness. Not that there is a mind and consciousness. Not that there are objects, an entire universe and consciousness. Somehow the claim in Advaita Vedanta is body, mind, universe, they are all nothing other than consciousness. They are nothing but consciousness. One philosopher said, lot of nothing buttery going on here. Nothing but consciousness. So this is the remarkable claim in Advaita Vedanta. The consciousness is being pointed out here as the very self, but not as an object to be known, not also an unknown object. Rather, it is no object at all. And it cannot be doubted. One thing we cannot doubt, I'll end with this, one thing we cannot doubt is our own existence. Everything can be doubted. This is the Descartesian program, the French philosopher, René Descartes. We have all studied it. It's not all that unknown, because remember Cartesian coordinates, x-axis, y-axis, but he was a great philosopher also. So he had this project, let me doubt whatever can be doubted. What is the one indubitable foundation of knowledge? And he came to his famous cogito ergo sum, that I think, therefore I exist. I think, therefore I exist. I cannot deny that I'm thinking. When I say, what am I? Eye of the eye. Do I exist also? Even if by asking that question, I'm affirming my own existence. In Sanskrit, this is called vadato vyaghata. That means, by speaking it, I'm contradicting myself. If I say, I do not exist, who said it? You exist. So my own existence cannot be doubted. Then put it together with the teacher's teaching. Other than the known, other than the unknown. This indubitable, absolutely indubitable my own existence. There is no doubt I exist. But then what am I? It's not an object. Anything that is known, it's not it. Anything that's knowable, it's not it. All that is unknown, it's not it. And then we can come to this conclusion. Back to our question, the light by which we are experiencing everything. 1, we exist. 2, we experience. These are the two things. This isness awareness, it cannot be denied. Every experience points back to it. So this is the answer that we get from the Upanishad, from the teacher. Our own indubitable existence. And it's not a mysterious existence. It's the most obvious existence. First, I existing, then the world appears to me. First, the reality of the subject, then the object appears to the subject. In fact, if you go deeper, both subject and object are appearing in that one ground of both. That you are. Never try, there's so much beauty in this way of teaching. Never try to objectify it. He says, Swami, I'm beginning to get it, now I'm meditating upon it. Don't. You will either fall asleep or get a headache. Meditating upon it means you're trying to objectify it. In Vedanta, the meditation is what is a neti meditation. Anything that comes up, I am not it, and I am the witness of it. I am not it clear because it's an object. I am the witness of it clear because I am experiencing it. If you're the witness of it, you're free of it. It's your own mind, you're free of it. Own personality, you're free of it. Even while experiencing it, even while being in the midst of all of that. So this is the secret which is revealed to us in the Kena Upanishad. This is the real nature of the I of the I. And Vedanta says, this I of the I is also God. The God of religion that you worship is not the small I. That will be sacrilegious. That is blasphemy. I, this fellow, I am God. That is megalomania. You need there's a American Psychiatry Association here. Both American Psychology Association and American Psychiatry Association, both headquarters are here. I didn't know. A couple of years back I came. And they hate each other. So I went to the headquarters of the American Psychiatry Association for a conference. So I'm sorry if there might be psychiatrists present here also. But one thing I noticed, it was a conference with religious leaders from different churches, different religions. So big table, some of the top psychiatrists of the United States on this side of the table, the different departments from different hospitals in the United States. And on the other side, various leaders of various religious organizations, churches. One peculiar thing I noticed, the ones on that side of the table, the doctors, they all look miserable. And they said automatically, it's our profession, Swami. It's too difficult. It really wears you out. It's a horribly difficult profession. And those on the other side of the table, I saw they all looked happy. There's something to be learned there. So yes, this I of the I, that our real nature as this limit, indubitable. You cannot deny it. If you understand it, you'll begin to see it's the most obvious fact of all. And it is being proved by every experience that you have, religious or secular. And it is the light of our lives. The reason we have our life at all, including problems, is because that light is there. That's what enables us to have all that. And if we appreciate it as it is, we realize, I am that. Then the promise is, you transcend all problems while being in this body and mind, in this life. And you attain to bodiless liberation after the death of this body. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada, Swami Vivekananda. May they illumine our intellects, buddhescha sakshi. They already are. May they be gracious and grant us this breakthrough, this illumination. From that brilliant moment, I call it the brilliant moment, when you make that sudden breakthrough. And it is brilliant moment is followed by a blessed dawn of the knowledge. Oh, I am this. It is all right. and then a glorious day, the remaining part of the life of this body. So may that come in our lives, in this very life itself. I pray to Thakur Ma Swamiji. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. You can have the questions now. Those who want to ask questions, please queue up there. There's a microphone to my right at the very edge of the hall in front. Yes.
We had one earlier question. Can you make any distinction between consciousness and awareness?
Yes. All right, that's it. No more. Don't add any more because we won't be able to answer any more questions. Now, a special question has come to kick off our discussions. Can you make any distinction between consciousness and awareness? I am not making any distinction because neither the words consciousness nor awareness are precisely what we are talking about here. The words in Sanskrit are more precise. Chit, Chaitanyam, Bodha, Chiti. There are multiple words in Sanskrit for this. But no precise translation in English as far as I know. So we use words like consciousness, awareness, though they are ambiguous. That's why I don't want to make a precise distinction. Some do. Some people, for example, have you read the book? I am that. No, you are that. What is the book? I am that. Nisargadatta Maharaj. Remember, it's translated from Marathi. So, the English translation, it can create some confusions. For example, he says, you are this consciousness. And then he says, next, at death, this consciousness goes away. Those who have studied Vedanta, who have been hearing consciousness, you get a shock. Oh, at death it goes away. And then he adds, so awareness continues. So he's making a distinction there. And in Vedanta, the distinction would be between, Shuddha Chaitanyam or the Sakshi Chaitanyam and the what is called Chidabhasa, the reflected consciousness. The reflected consciousness goes away when you fall asleep. Suppose you call that consciousness, then every time you fall asleep, the consciousness is gone. Every time you are under general anesthesia, consciousness is gone. But that's not what Vedanta means by Bodha or Chit or Chaitanyam. All right, let's start there.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Namaste, Swamiji. And
please tell us your name and ask the question. Make it a pointed question.
yes, my name is Sri Ram.
Yes.
I have been a student of Vedanta for a long time, starting from my IIT Kanpur days. So one question I have is, when I do, for example, I go out to exercise in a field, I can bring myself to a state where I can get absorbed in this thought of Shuddha Chaitanya or Krishna Chaitanya. And I can see on the leaves of every tree or blades of grass, everywhere there is Krishna. And
while jogging?
No, while jogging or while sitting down on a bench. So as I do that, so I'm absorbed in that Shuddha Chaitanya. Presumably, it feels that way. It is very uplifting and liberating and energizing. All of that happens. But then, like everything around you is Krishna, the birds, the leaves, the blades of grass, the trees, everything is Krishna. Then the thought comes to me, I'm looking down at the grass, at the ground where I'm looking, and I see ants, many ant hills. And I'm jogging on that field.
Now you're jogging.
Jogging, walking. But what essentially my question is that there seems to be a paradox and how to deal with that. That is that in this notion of Krishna Chaitanya, even the ants are Krishna. Krishna is present there in the form of ants.
You have to narrow it down. What's the question?
And I am in the form of Krishna. And as I walk, as I jog, there is this violence happening, ahimsa happening, many ants dying under the feet. So in that situation, like how do we resolve this paradox that why is this Shuddha Chaitanya in one form is engaged in violence against another form of the same Shuddha Chaitanya or same Krishna. Am I?
All right. Let me give a two-part answer to this. Two things. First, when you say, I experience, when I'm jogging or sitting on the bench, I experience everything as Chaitanya, and for some reason you said Krishna Chaitanya, I see the leaves and the ants as Krishna Chaitanya, you see that. Who is the you who is seeing it? Or what is it?
Himself, in the form of my body, my mind.
Why are you calling it Krishna?
Shuddha Chaitanya.
So you're calling it Shuddha Chaitanya?
Krishna or Shuddha Chaitanya, I'm equating them.
You're equating them.
Yeah.
So, Krishna is seeing Krishna, right? Who are you then?
At that point, Krishna himself is thinking this, Krishna himself is
So at that
observing this.
At that point,
and
you are...
I don't exist.
Just a minute, let me finish. At that point, you are Krishna.
Everything is Krishna.
Fine, but at that point, you are Krishna.
At what point?
The point when you are seeing everything as Krishna?
Yeah, Krishna himself is seeing.
No, but why are you hesitating in saying, I am Krishna?
Oh, I'm not hesitating. I'm saying I'm Shuddha Chaitanya. I am Krishna. If I think of myself as this body, mind, intelligence, then there is ego and all that. But if I say that Krishna is manifest as this body, mind, and intelligence.
So you are Shuddha Chaitanya.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is Shuddha Chaitanya. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only Shuddha Chaitanya.
Mm-hmm.
Then this violence committed by one form of Shuddha Chaitanya against another form of Shuddha Chaitanya, both are appearances in Shuddha Chaitanya. Right? Where is the problem there then? Suppose in your dream you commit violence against somebody else in the dream and you wake up. In the dream it's a problem. When you wake up you realize, oh, it was a dream. It's no longer a problem because both are you. You are yourself answering the question. I am Shuddha Chaitanya, Sri Ram. And I see the ant, and I'm jogging, and I crush the little ant, who is also Shuddha Chaitanya. In fact, neither I am Sri Ram, nor is that an ant, it's only Shuddha Chaitanya appearing in these forms. But that's your realization. You've already said that. So that solves the paradox.
Thank
It solves the paradox only when you realize that that is true.
Yeah, we have to keep questioning it further, meaning that it dwells, the knowledge dwells there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my advice will be, instead of getting caught up in this tangle, investigate into ourselves, into what is this Sri Ram? Is this body? Is it this mind? And don't do it. This is one thing for all of us. Don't do it rhetorically. Don't do it in the sense of like a slogan or like a formula. I am not the body, I am not the mind. I remember this old gentleman when I was a novice monk, very sweet old gentleman, but he could be irritable sometimes. So he was talking to me that, he would say, quoting Sri Ramakrishna, he would say, I am like the dry leaf being blown by the wind. In Bengali, I mean, jhorer eto patar maton. So when people used to eat, in the temples, they would sit and eat. And then the leaves would be tossed away. They were all biodegradable, so no problem at all. But if a storm came, if you think of Bengal, the nor'wester, Kal Boishaki, then the leaves would be blown hither and thither. So it's completely discarded. It's at the mercy of the storm. The idea being, you leave yourself to the mercy of God and see where God takes you, depending on God. So the whole thing is a very beautiful expression. I am like the dry leaf being blown around by the storm. That basically I'm completely surrendered to God. So he was telling me that. I was a newcomer. I was sitting and listening to the gentleman. Very nice gentleman. And at that time it was tea time. And there's this boy who was serving tea. He says, I am like the dry leaf being blown about by the storm. When will you get the tea? Another old Swami was sitting nearby. He muttered, the dry leaf is particularly irritable today. I'll tell you in Bengali, those who understand Bengali, they'll enjoy it even more. The moment he said in Bengali irritably that Chata divito. Give the tea. And the old Swami said, Eto patar ki tej. No. It will not come. If you force it, it will not come. It has to be an inquiry. And to actually start with feeling. Start with the feeling, I am the body. Don't deny it immediately. Then progress through inquiry into the feeling that I am the mind, the person. Don't deny it immediately. Then through inquiry, discover I am the witness consciousness. Like that it will work. Thank you.
Absorption and surrender.
Yes.
Thank you. Dhanyavad, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji, for this wonderful experience.
Tell us your name.
Ranjan Gupta.
Ranjan.
So I see a word that is nowadays used in a lot of literature, it's thrown around a lot, called mindfulness. And I always wonder, is there any relationship between mindfulness and consciousness? Thank you.
Yes. What is called mindfulness is basically training of the attention. It's a wonderful, wonderful practice. Attention. Attention and consciousness are not the same thing. I may not give any attention to anything. My mind may be completely scattered. I'm still conscious. Suppose I'm attentively, mindfully writing, listening. I'm still conscious. It is the mind which is focused, paying attention. Mind which is unfocused, distracted. Consciousness is equally there in both. But for spirituality, a mindful state is much more useful. Sattvic is much more useful. Revered Swami Bhuteshananda Ji Maharaj, who was the 12th president of our order, when someone was telling him about the beautiful book written by the Buddhist monk, Vietnamese Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, about the miracle of mindfulness. And he appreciated, Bhuteshananda Ji Maharaj appreciated it. He said, yes, this is something that we should practice. We should endeavor to be. Mindful is, so we want to discover ourselves as the eye of the eye. Is the mindful state helpful? It's a state. Mindfulness is a state which can be cultivated, which can be lost also. Yes, the cultivated mindful state is very helpful for spirituality, for the discovery of ourselves as pure consciousness. Yes, thank you.
Hari Om, Swamiji. My name is Sam. Jumping off of that because I'm actually a Tibetan Buddhist practitioner.
Wonderful.
And
which tradition?
Karma Kagyu.
Karma Kagyu.
Yes.
Karma Kagyu, yes.
And I was curious if you could comment on the sort of similarities between the Vedantic, Upanishadic, Brahman, eye of the eye versus the Dharmakaya, Buddha nature sort of stuff. Because it's funny is I'll talk to some older Buddhists who are like, no, they're completely different. But
yes.
when I talk to Hindus or younger Buddhists, they're like, yeah, they're kind of the same.
Yes,
so.
yes. That is an ancient question. And it's a worthwhile question to explore actually. These are two ancient traditions which are remarkably alike and different. They're like mirror images of each other. Sometimes they use literally the same language. If you read the Mula Madhyamaka Karika of Nagarjuna, if you read portions of the Mandukya Karika of Gaudapada, almost exactly the same language. Advayam, Nagarjuna says. Advaitam, Gaudapada says. Prapanchopashamam, the cessation of the universe. Nagarjuna says. Gaudapada says, Prapanchopashamam, the cessation of the universe. So there are tremendous similarities in language, in arguments, in the techniques, logical techniques, and in what they seem to be pointing towards. Are they same or different? It's an ancient debate. If you go back to both sides, traditional non-dualists, they say their answer is unequivocally no. That's different. The Tibetan Buddhists, they were not aware of the Tibetan Buddhists, but they are aware of the sources of Tibetan Buddhism. Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, the Madhyamaka school, the school of emptiness. They say that is different from Advaita Vedanta. If you ask this school of emptiness, the emptiness people, the non-duality of the Hindus, they will say, no, that's very different from us. And we will claim we are right, they are wrong. They will claim we are right, these guys are wrong. I remember meeting a Tibetan Lama in a conference in Delhi University in the psychology department. I spoke about consciousness from the perspective of Advaita Vedanta. He spoke about it from the perspective of the mind-only school. Actually, Tibetan Buddhism right now, and for the last 200-300 years, is basically a synthesis of the mind-only school and the emptiness school, the Madhyamaka and the Chittamatra. Now, after the talk in Delhi University, when we were leaving the hall, the Lama and I, a lady stood up and she said to the Lama, she said, what the Swami was saying and what you were saying, they seem like very much the same thing. And I said, well, they're more, he said, no, they are different. And I said, yeah, they're different in their approach, but they all lead to the same reality. And the Lama said, he wouldn't let go. He said, yes, like this. And after that, again, different. So I'll just say this much and let it go. Actually, I've discussed this in an essay called Chandrakirti's Chariot. If you see the book, Fullness and Emptiness, so you'll just see in fact, the answer to your question from my perspective at least is in the last essay, Chandrakirti's Chariot. The reason why the Advaitins cut down the emptiness people is a misunderstanding on our part. And the reason why the emptiness people cut down the non-dual Advaitins is again a misunderstanding on their part. What's the way of misunderstanding emptiness and what is the way of misunderstanding Advaita? The way of misunderstanding emptiness is what you find in many ancient Indian dialectical texts. Emptiness is understood as nihilism. They are saying nothing is there. There's no reality. Which is wrong, because if you look at Nagarjuna, if you look at Chandrakirti and others, they explicitly deny nihilism. They're not saying, we are saying that nothing exists. we are not saying that nothing exists. So that's the way of understanding emptiness, misunderstanding emptiness. The way of misunderstanding non-duality or Advaita is to think of it as a thing. We think that the non-emptiness people are saying there is nothing. And they think we are saying that the ultimate reality is a thing. The truth is, in neither case we have understood each other's position. Both of us are saying the ultimate reality, the nature of things is, it is no thing. It's not nothing, it's not a thing, it's no thing. If you take the emptiness, the Nagarjunian tetralemma, the dialectic of the emptiness school, it's very difficult not to suspect that these guys are nihilists. And if you see how the Upanishads work and the Vedanta texts work, it seems so positive that you feel these guys are talking about some reality, some particular kind of reality. No. It's like looking at golden ornaments. And somebody comes and tells you, the ornaments are not the reality, and stops. And then you think, there are only these ornaments, and these are not the reality, so there's no reality. And if somebody else comes and tells you, no, the ornaments are not the reality, gold is the reality, and you start looking for a new ornament called gold, you'll never find it. So gold is not a new kind of ornament. That's where the emptiness people are right. But gold is not non-existent. In fact, it is the very existence, the reality of all the ornaments, except that it is not an ornament. That's the way I want to put it. Yeah. There is a book, Progressive Stages of Meditation on Emptiness. I think Sultrim Rinpoche. Progressive Stages of Meditation on Emptiness. They are the 5th stage. So he goes through 5 stages of understanding of emptiness in Buddhism. The Theravada idea of emptiness, then the Chittamatra idea of emptiness, then the Swatantrika Madhyamaka idea of emptiness, then the Prasangika Madhyamaka idea of emptiness, and then the Shentong school.
My Lama is Shentong.
So that is very, very close to Advaita, or Advaita is very, very close to the Shentong school. Okay. The Jonang school or the Shentong school, yes. All right, please convey my pranams
you.
to your Lama also.
Yes, will do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Namaste, Swamiji. My name is Maitreyi. My question, I think, is going to be similar to the previous ones, but I'm
Okay,
going
one
to
second. As you said at the end, the younger people are much more relaxed about it. That's true. If you come to America, see, these are ancient rivalries and enmities going back nearly 2,000 years from Nagarjuna onwards, or even older. So both positions are very entrenched. I remember when I talked about emptiness and fullness, a traditional monk, Vedantic monk from Benares, he said, are you going to equate Purna and Shunya, the fullness and the nothingness? In Bengal, it has more punch. আপনি কি তাহলে পূর্ণ আর শূন্য এক করে দিলেন? They don't like it one bit. They're trying to reconcile these two schools. But in America, our younger generation, they don't have these hang-ups. They begin to see clearly that it's not so different at all. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
So
Naam
in-
bolun?
Maitreyi. My name is
Maitreyi.
Maitreyi, yeah. So in today's talk, I get the feeling that experience is arising in consciousness, like the
Yes.
movies on a screen.
Yes.
In a previous talk of yours, and I think it's related to the Buddhism, you had talked about two bales of hay. Experience and consciousness are not two different things, and they rely on each other, which means there is no consciousness without experience. I think that's how I understood it, but I can't seem to reconcile the two visuals.
Yes. Let me just, it's easy to clarify, but it's a subtle point. When I said two bales of hay, this is taken from a commentator on Nagarjuna called Chandrakirti. He says the subject and the object, not experience and consciousness, subject and the object are like two bales of hay. If you remove the object, the subject also falls. You can't say that I am consciousness experiencing a world like the Hindus seem to say. Remove the world, not this, not this. I will remain only as consciousness. You will not even remain as consciousness. Somehow, when we talk about the analysis, I'm not the body, not the mind, and so on, then I'm the witness consciousness, as if I will remain the witness consciousness without body and mind. Take away all objects, what will happen? Subject also will go. Classic example is deep sleep. Classic example is general anesthesia. No matter how much calculation we do, I was the witness of the absence in deep sleep. All that is back calculation. All that is clever bookkeeping. After waking up, when you are awake, you feel conscious. When you are dreaming, you feel conscious. But when in deep sleep, you don't feel conscious. It's not so that it is trying to pull a fast one. Oh, non-dualist. No. So Chandrakirti is unforgiving there. He says, when you take away all the objects, general anesthesia, for example, he did not know about that, but deep sleep, then the subject also falls. However, what Advaita Vedanta wants to say is that consciousness is not just the subject. It is that in which the subject and object both arise. Consciousness is not just the inner reality of the subject, apart from the object. That is Sankhya. But Advaita Vedanta says the subject and the object both arise in consciousness, both fall back into consciousness. Now, what is experience? It is consciousness plus an object. It is when consciousness appears as subject-object, then we have experience. Suppose subject-object disappear, then there will be no experience. Or an experience of utter blankness, if you can call that an experience. But that does not mean consciousness is gone. At most, the Buddhist might at that point say, don't call it consciousness anymore. I said, fine.
Okay.
But don't say that nothing is there.
Right.
Yeah. So, you are there. And sometimes you appear as subject-object. And sometimes you do not appear in deep sleep, for example.
Is it fair to say that our experience of consciousness includes subject-object?
Yes. Or our experience is always consciousness appearing as subject-object. That's what we call experience. Subjects
okay.
experiencing objects.
Okay.
You are not the object. And if you eliminate every object from the subject will become pure consciousness. Yeah. Thank you. Please
Pranam
tell us
Swami-
your name and ask the question.
Pranam
Yes.
Swamiji. My name is Anirudh. Just before my question, really nice to see you. I'm from Bhubaneswar also, as you are. I also went to BJV College.
Oh, I see.
But anyway, my question is from a householder point of view. Again, my question may be a little harsh, but please don't take it that way. It feels like Vedantic teachings are like pretty binary in a sense that it says Brahman Satya and Jagat Mithya, completely binary, nothing in between, which feels like very harsh from a householder point of view. It says that don't be very excited in your good times, don't be very depressed or disturbed when you go through bad times, but then you can't do it completely this way or that way. There has to be some in-between things. So shouldn't it be little continuous? Maybe from a monk's point of view, it's okay if it is completely this way or that way, or Brahman is completely true and Jagat is completely false or mithya. So how does a householder look at it? Because if it is too, it seems very harsh.
It is true what you are saying. One reason also is, for a long period, Vedanta was kind of monopolized by monks and pandits. In fact, it was Swami Vivekananda who said that I shall take the Vedanta, which was in the forests and caves, and I shall scatter it across the cities of the world. It was in the hands of a few monks and scholars, but it should become, Swami Vivekananda says at one point, it should become a religion, a living religion of the masses, that people should live Vedanta, not just few individuals here and there. So how do you do that? How do you do that? When Advaita Vedanta says the world is false, it's equally true to say in Advaita Vedanta the world is Brahman. It does not mean that there is some Brahman somewhere, and that is true, and everything that we experience is false. Not at all. When it says the world is false and Brahman is true, what it means is the world as we are experiencing it is not the truth. The truth, then what is it? What is the truth? It is Brahman. Vivekananda put it this way. It's not that you have to throw out of your home your wife and children, give up your job and go and sit on a mountain top and say that is spirituality, that is reality. All of that is false. No. In fact, Vivekananda says it in more clear terms. He says, in very uncompromising terms, he says, he who runs away to meditate and die in a Himalayan cave has missed the way. And then he says, binary, see, he who plunges headlong into the foolishnesses and vanities of the world, he too has missed the way. If I grab hold of samsara, what will happen? As most people we are doing it. We are grabbing hold of samsara. It's very difficult to let go. First of all, we don't have much choice in the matter. What you grab hold, that grabs hold of you also. And if you suddenly say, no, I've changed my mind, not so fast. It will not let go of you. There was this man, Sri Ramakrishna's anecdote of a river in flood and many things being swept away. The poor villager, he saw an expensive rug, he thought, being swept away. And thought, why should it be wasted? He jumped into the river and he swam out there. When he came and grabbed the rug, he realized it was a bear, bhalu. And the bear caught hold of him. And from the distance, his friends were saying, let it go, you will get drowned, let the rug go. Let it go. And the villager shouted, I have let it go, it is not letting me go. So with great difficulty, if you say, I will let go of samsara, I will go to the Himalaya and meditate there, that is the right way to spirituality. Vivekananda says there is a deep mistake you are making there. Not that you cannot be spiritual, that you can be, but you will have to correct your error there itself. And if you say, I will catch hold of the bear, that is the only reality, you are again making a deadly mistake. Because samsara will catch hold of you, it's a bear. Then what is the way? It looks like a binary, either that or this. If that is also false, that is also a mistake, this is also a mistake. You have lost the way there, you have lost the way here. Then what is the way? Vivekananda says very powerfully, this is Advaita Vedanta. He says, the way is to divinize life itself. It is to see divinity in those who are around you in everything, both here and there, whether in samsara or in the top of the Himalayas. Who sees divinity here will find divinity there. Who does not see divinity here will not find divinity there also. It is the same gold and the ornaments example. If I do not understand what gold is, and someone tells me, gold real, ornament mithya, ornament false, gold is real. I say, oh, I see. Then I'll take all the ornaments, throw them away. Look for gold. Where is gold? Never. And if I don't understand what is gold, and it said, there itself is the truth, then I will say, this necklace is the truth. The moment it is melted and made into a bracelet, I will say, oh, the truth has gone, the gold has gone, the reality. No, the gold is right here. It was here earlier, now it is here. When there's a saying, when God closes one door, He always opens another door. But we are looking at the closed door and weeping. The reality is always there. God is always there. Brahman is always there. In samsara. That's what makes Advaita Vedanta so powerful as a philosophy of life. Not just for monks. And remember, this in-between period, about last 1500 years or so, monks sort of generally monopolized. It became a very monastic endeavor. But originally, if you go to the source of Advaita Vedanta, today I was talking about Upanishad. Go to Upanishad, to Bhagavad Gita, teachers and students are all householders. What is that one reality knowing which everything is known? I did not quote the line before that. Shaunako havai mahashalo angirasam vidivadupasannapa pracha. Shaunaka, it says the great householder. Mahashala, one who owns great yajñashalas. That means a very rich, successful and religious householder. He goes to the Rishi Angiras and asks the question, Kasmin no bhagavo vigyate sarvamidam vigyatam bhavati iti. Almost always, either both student and teacher, Arjuna and Krishna, they are householders. Or at least one of them. Sometimes the teacher is the monk and the student is the householder. Sometimes student is the householder and teacher is the monk. Thakur also? He was both, of course, he demonstrated both. So yes, this is a very good question. And we must not think in this way, because otherwise we are depriving ourselves of a very powerful philosophy. If I am a householder, young, old, man, woman, child, wherever, America, India, it is such an impersonal philosophy. Anywhere, anytime, you can adopt it and get benefit from it starting straight away. So let us not. I read somewhere, the Maharaja of Mysore was very enlightened, what they are. He printed Ashtavakra and I think Mandukya Karika and free distribution among the Praja. That means they are regarded as high monastic books. And he says more than monks, householders require this. How will they get peace in the middle of samsara? This gives you great peace and great strength in the middle of samsara. Yes. Thank you for asking the question.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Abhinav. A few years ago, I was going through this situation where I had to come up with a research solution within a week's time. So I had spent about 6 months. I had no clue where that would go. But then some idea came up and then I was able to solve that problem in a week. And that proved to be a good example of the mind, because personally I could never think that I could have come up with that solution in that time frame. So that got me interested into the witness consciousness idea, and I can somehow relate to the witness consciousness when I am trying to observe my thoughts or my emotions like anger and happiness. But when it comes to actions, I cannot become witness because I have to make a decision that I have to do this. I have to drag myself to the office, and I experience challenge being a witness consciousness when it comes to actions or decisions. So my fallback is that whenever a situation like this arises where I can no longer be witness, I fall back to karma yoga. I will think from a selfless point of view. So do you have any suggestion on about being witness?
Suggestion is, fall back to karma yoga. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I am this person doing karma for the welfare of others or as a worship of God. Very good, no problem at all. But if you still want to retain that witness consciousness in the middle of action, then Krishna gives us a solution. We all know this verse, Brahmarpanam Brahmavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam. You all feel hungry now. It's time for Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Those who see Brahman in the middle of action, The one who is in action sees Brahman everywhere. You might say, how? Instead of trying to be the witness consciousness there, focus on oneness. I am Brahman. The car by which I am driving to the office is Brahman. The road is Brahman. The goal at the end, the office is Brahman. After all, if you understand Advaita Vedanta, it's true. It has to be. What else is it? These are all names and forms appearing in consciousness. The mind which takes the decision is Brahman. The ego which has to decide, I have to do this or not do that, that's also Brahman. So the way to come back to witness consciousness in the middle of action is through oneness, is through Brahman. Does that work? Think about it.
Yeah, exercise.
It's worthwhile. And you have karma yoga to fall back upon anyway, so you have a safety net. We wrap up at 1 o'clock, Manoj? Please come.
Hari Om Swamiji. It was great to see you in real rather than on YouTube.
Virtually. Yeah.
And
tell us your name.
My name is Vandana. So, extending eye of the eye to free will of the free will, it's hard for me to understand it when I'm in the action of the free will, and even harder to understand the free will of others. How do I bring the eye of the eye concept in that free will concept?
Yeah, this is a big question. Full lecture necessary for this. But let me go back to what you asked in the beginning. You said, it's good to see you in real, not just virtually. I remember a couple of years back, I had gone to India. I was in our Ramakrishna Mission Ashram in Delhi. I'd just come out into the passageway in front of the monastic quarters. And two teenage boys were standing at the end. And one was excitedly telling the other, I told you he's real. I'll just answer your question cryptically, in formula, without explanation. Swami Vivekananda says, what is the Vedanta's perspective on free will? He says, free will is a misnomer. It's a mistake. There is freedom. But when it becomes will, it's no longer free. Now, this freedom is the eye of the eye. The eye itself, when it thinks of independently, I am doing these things, has a delusion of free will, has an illusion of free will, and it acts accordingly. When it becomes more enlightened, it realizes this is not free will really. There's a greater power behind this. Then it surrenders the I. And ultimately realize there's the eye of the I where there is freedom, but not free will. Practically, what does it mean? Practically, it means acting according to the free will which we feel, doing the best we can, and always acknowledging that beyond my free will is Ishvara or Bhagavan. There is a greater power behind this, who is granting me this much of free will. Yes. Please come.
Namaskar, Swamiji. My question is...
Tell us your name.
Oh, my name is Snigdha. My question is Sakshi and Chidabhas. So Sakshi is... Chidabhas is reflected on the mind. So what is the role of memory in this? I'm asking this because while working with dementia patients, I see them a lot of time very much more sthita pragya than we consciously or we deliberately with memories.
Recently, I was in Zurich, and a gentleman who hosted me, he also does a lot of volunteer work with dementia patients, and he told me something valuable. He said, I find one thing about the dementia patients, I can clearly see the difference between mind and consciousness. Clearly, the mind is deteriorating. Memory is clearly, huge chunks are being lost. Behavior is changing rapidly. But clearly, they are conscious. They are aware. Even the deteriorating, and that awareness, by the way, is the reflected consciousness. It is the deteriorating mind also reflects consciousness. Just that memory is not functioning anymore, decision making, behavior patterns, everything starts changing. But it's personality, you know better, personality starts changing. So consciousness is there regardless of the changes in the mind. And about that Sthita Prajna you said, he also told me the same thing. He said, I saw in dementia patients both kinds. Some are quite unhappy, but many are actually more happy than us, more relaxed. He goes to meet this very elderly lady devotee who has now dementia, 95 plus years. And in her earlier years, she had told him some stories, interesting stories about her past, her life to him, which she has now herself forgotten. And he says, when I narrate those back to her, she's very delighted. Oh, it happened like this. I said this happened. Her own memories are being told back to her. Clearly shows us as conscious beings, not even pure consciousness, even as this subject, we are quite independent of mind and memory. Even when the memory goes away, I don't go away. I am there. Because we are so identified with mind, memory, intellect. When those things start deteriorating, we feel very horrible, that as if I am falling apart. It's terrible. It's a difficult time, no doubt. But Vedanta tells you, you are independent of those faculties. Those faculties may function very well, they may not function so well, they may not function at all. In deep sleep, nothing functions. No memory, no intellect, nothing. You are still there, exactly as you are now. This is the great teaching of Vedanta, yes. Thank you.
Yes. So the second part of the question is, yeah. So the memory, can we, like, I know, like, we can use it as a tool because we memorize hymns and
Yes.
and memory is a hindrance, like, because it's in the realm of Maya, like it's a hindrance to experience.
Yeah, it's a subtle question, but your answer is in your question. You said tool. So it's a tool and hindrance. So if it's properly used, it's not a hindrance. But if it's improperly used, it can damage. So memory is a useful tool. Without memory, we can't function in the world. We can't even learn Vedanta.
Yes.
So memory is absolutely necessary for our functioning. But you are right. Memory generates a story. And we remain satisfied or dissatisfied, but we remain trapped in that story, thinking this is my story. And this is who I am. This is my narrative. After all, my memory tells me to. Memory is a big liar. Memory is a big liar. Not only is it very fallible, there is a saying, the faintest ink is sharper than the keenest memory. If you write it down, that's more clear and more reliable than what I remember. Because what I remember is continuously changing. It's very dynamic. Not only in that sense, in a deeper sense, even when memory is functioning correctly, it's still a liar. When I say, I remember such and such days, the past, I'm thinking dwelling in the past. You're not dwelling in the past. You're dwelling only in the present with thoughts of the past. The past is a ghost. It's gone completely. Memory keeps it real for us in some shadowy form, and we get trapped in that. It's gone. It's totally, totally gone. The future, it doesn't exist at all. All that ever exists is you, the one consciousness. That is the deeper meaning of the present. And it's extended this way and that way, by past and by our expectations into the future, by our anxieties into the future, and our memories back into the past. Use it as a tool, but don't be trapped by memory. You say, without memory also, I am fine.
Thank you so much.
Yes. There was a cartoon of, most people are like, in slapstick movies, people slip on a banana peel and fall down. So we are doing it continuously. Either we are slipping and falling backwards, or we are slipping and falling forwards. Never walk standing straight. Backwards, past. Forward, future. Anxious, what will happen next? Or expecting, waiting for something nice to happen. Past. That was those song. Those were the days. There's a song. Or some kind of trauma, some kind of guilt, bad memories. In both ways we are trapped, slipping back into the past or falling forward into the future. They are ghosts, they are fantasies, they have no reality at all. Even the strong memories, which seem to be more real than our present, they have no reality at all. Don't do that. If you remain centered in consciousness itself, You will find memories like cobwebs. Yeah, good. You have 1 minute left. Let's just hear the question.
Hari Om Swamiji. My name is Ramdas. My question is God manifestation of consciousness? And it really confuses when we say, oh, there is my personal God I worship with, and then sometimes we say Ramakrishna is God. So really, God and consciousness really get confused to me.
Yes. So in the Bhagavad Gita, these are very, very big questions for 1 minute. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 levels of understanding of God. In Vedanta also, 4 levels of. One is the personal God. Here is Sri Ramakrishna. He is my personal God. I believe he exists in such and such form. And I am worshipping him here in this way. I am different from him. He is different from me. And he is loving, he is protecting, and so on and so forth. Krishna also sometimes speaks there in the Gita as a personal God. This personal God can have many names, many forms, many religions, many ways of worshipping the personal God. He may be the eternal personal God like Vishnu in Vaikuntha, or the occasional avatar like Ramakrishna, Jesus and others, Buddha, multiple manifestations of the divinity. In these ways, avatars, incarnations of God. This is step 1. But this is the primary, basic understanding of God, personal God. Then we go to the next, the eternal God. One God appearing as the God of different religions, which is Satchidananda with the power of Maya, which is Ishvara in Vedanta, which is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. That is a slightly higher understanding of God. Then we go to the third understanding of God in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the cosmic God, Vishwarupa, 11th chapter, 10th chapter, 11th chapter, appearing as this cosmos, everywhere, with eyes and heads and feet everywhere. One consciousness associated with the entire universe. The universe itself becomes the body of God. You can see how far we have come from one image. You go even further. We come to this pure consciousness, witness consciousness. We just chanted, Buddhescha Sakshi Nikhilasya Janto, the witness of the Buddhi. So these are different conceptions of God. All are true. All are true. It is that pure consciousness with Maya and with the cosmic form. It is called Virat or Vishwarupa. It is that Vishwarupa in its transcendent form, which is called Vishnu or Devi or God in heaven, Father in heaven. It is that one which comes in various forms as Avatara. Same one. Yes.
Namaste, Swamiji.
This is the last question.
This is my first time being here, so I'm kind of like really glad I came.
Tell us your name.
Sushma. Swamiji, I'm follower of Jesus Christ. So he says in Bible that I am the way, the truth, and the life. So when he says that, what he means is like he spent his entire ministry serving people and loving people, and the two commandment are like love your God with all your heart and soul and mind, and the another one is love your neighbor with your entire heart, like as you love yourself, right? So my question is, do you think like is there a better way? Like there's a lot of way, like you said, there's a lot of way to get to enlightenment. Is there a better way from one another? Is there a better, I don't know if I put it right or not. Is there a better, like you said, like there's a lot of ways to get to enlightenment. Is there a better way? I think that would be.
Is one of them better?
Yeah.
Yes, there is. There's one way which is better than all the others, far better. Which is that way? Your way. The way which you have picked up and you are pursuing it seriously. If you already picked one way and pursuing it seriously, that way is the best for you. Sri Ramakrishna gives the parable of the man who was digging for water. And he dug in one place. It's hard work digging for water. Somebody told him, dig there, it's easier. So he went there. Then third place, then fourth place. After half a dozen places, didn't get water at the end of the day. But if he had dug on at that first place, he might have got water at the end of the day. So, all of these ways work. Not only that, if once somebody asked me, can I think of my religion as the best? And the answer was, not only you can think of your religion as the best, you must think of your religion as the best. Why have you selected that if you don't consider it to be the best? But the operative word is you. Everybody else also has the right of thinking of their path as better. This is the only thing that's not necessary is to quarrel. Is that my path it works, it's the best, and your path is wrong. And now I am being given the right by God to decide and to educate you and show you the error of your way and bringing you to my path. There starts all the problem. You must think of yourself, your path will work, it is true, and in fact, if you should think of your path as the best for you. But other paths can work for them. Yeah.
Swamiji, so what happens to those who never finds a path? Or who never finds
What
a path?
happens?
What happens to those who never finds a path?
Who never finds a path? They will find a path. One day or the other. Yes, life will not be over. Sri Ramakrishna gave the example of the hospital. You will not be discharged until you are cured. With those words, thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Well, it was a wonderful session. We're very grateful to Swamiji for spending so much time. We won't request him to speak at any other public program this visit. So tonight we'll let him rest. But we're so happy that he came. We had planned for a closing song, but I think we'll have to skip it because of time. And then we invite everyone, slowly, one by one, to have some lunch with us in the basement. So thank you all for coming, and Maharaj, many thanks. A beautiful